my name is Odalys, and I'm going to be refuting Pablo's claim about minimum wage hike will adversely affect business. And their secondary claims that they made were increasing wages means less jobs to go around. The second one was quality suffers as business needs to cut costs. Third, in an inelastic pricing among small businesses could actually sink them. And from the first claim about increasing wages means less jobs to go around, there was information provided, there's a reference provided, and I saw from the bibliography about a peppermill restaurant located in Rochester, New York. And right now what's happening because of the minimum wage, they're adjusting their work hours for their employees. But what I saw from the New York State Department of Labor, they informed me with all the minimum wages, and in New York, where Rochester is located, the minimum wage right now is $9.70. And by the end of this year, it's going to be $10.40. But each year, it's going to be raised 7 cents. And as you can see, 7 cents per year is not that much. You can plan it out. You can plan out how much to spend, and well, right now for full-time 8-hour workers, if they work 7 days a week, then they would get $39.02 more for that week. And you can see they can try and plan out their financial plans and just plan for the future to plan for the future they have more time to plan out for the future. That's what I'm trying to say, I'm sorry. And then the next, they gave me a company about Noda Brewing Company, and they will cut hiring in order to preserve workers' satisfaction. And what I saw from the reference they had given me was that they have 44 employees. They make $6 million annually, and from what the co-worker of Noda Brewing Company says, that the minimum wage will cost them annually $40,000. So as you can see, it's not only affordable, but they don't have to worry about it annually. And from the second claim they made was quality suffers as businesses need to cut costs. So they made a claim about McDonald's replacing employees with electronic screens. But as you can see, technology will be the future, and not only McDonald's is making an electronic screen so they can order from. They have TVs. I just went to McDonald's this morning and I saw TVs for their menus, and they could show pictures of their yogurts, their hamburgers, and make them want to crave more food. That's what happened to me this morning. I also did research on car mobiles. They used to make back then a towing truck pull a car, and that would pull a car behind them, and they would get to each station, and in each station they would get put a steering wheel, or the next one wheels, the next one windshield. But now they have robotic arms doing all the work for them. And before they used to make 20 a day, from now they make at least 100,000 a day. So it's not, they didn't even put robotic arms to replace their employees. They put robotic arms so they could make more. And as you can see, they did not really provide that much proof on McDonald's replacing their employees with electronic screens because of minimum wage. But you can tell from the future now that technology is actually only replacing time, you know? we don't really we want to make things faster, and that's why they're replacing it with technology. So the third claim made was inelastic pricing among small businesses could actually sink them. I found on one of their evidence was about a worker in Los Olivos, Frank. He makes $13 an hour, and he's upset because he's going to get paid as much as the rest of the new employees. But you see, the minimum wage will be $15 an hour. So it's like getting a raise without even asking for it. And then there's a next evidence given about about small business owners needing to take a second job because they don't have enough money to make ends meet, but there was no proof at all provided about minimum wage causing this at all. So as you can see, they lacked on proof and verification, so their claim and evidence are not the most suitable for this argument. Thank you.
All right, the structural stuff is all good. On the first point where you're talking about the jobs trade-off, you basically have some information about the examples that the advocate talked about, and you kind of break it down. I like the example on the first one where it basically comes down to they get an extra $39 a week, which I think you're trying to put into perspective. That doesn't sound like it's that much. On the second example that they illustrate, you do the same sort of thing. That's $40,000 a year. This one, at least, you have an explanation. That company is, producing $6 million a year in revenue, so it seems like they should be able to afford the $40,000 a year that it's going to cost them to be able to pay their employees the higher rate. That I understood. The $39 a week thing, I think, it's an attempt to minimize the significance of the argument, but we need some contextual information to go along with it. So I don't think it quite gets you where you want, but you're on the right track with that argument. On the quality issue, I think you basically have I think the argument that the advocate's making is that people are going to be going to automation because of higher wages, and you're basically making a causality argument that says that the reason that they're going to technology is not high wages, but because of the advantages of the technology. It lets us see the food that makes us hungry to order more, or it helps us put together automobiles faster, or all those kinds of things. I think that's a good alternate causality argument, but you need to explain it a little bit more clearly. You got sidetracked a couple of times, and I wasn't quite sure where you were headed with this, but I seem to remember that that's what the advocate was talking about. The inelastic pricing issue, I don't think that it gets explained very well. You do suggest that the advocate doesn't really cite evidence very clearly. That's a reasonable press to make. I think it would be easier if you could show, well, for example, you had that illustration from the brewing company that makes $6 million, and the whole cost of increased wages for them is only going to be $40,000. What is inelastic about pricing the beer? So you increase the price of beer by a penny an ounce, that's going to cover your $40,000 or whatever it happens to be. I think that's the way you need to kind of explain that point. All right. Thank you. Gilbert.